Growing up, our next guest dreamed of racing cars for a living. Instead, though, Bryan Smith evolved into an adventure filmmaker as his love of the outdoors made him an expert on putting cameras in all sorts of interesting and dangerous locations. His first film, 49 megawatts, receiving acclaim for its story of the controversy surrounding British Columbia's river-based energy production and its amazing kayaking footage. One of his clients, National Geographic, has brought Bryan to Calgary for two presentations at the Jack Singer Concert Hall in the Epcor Center. The first presentation yesterday, the next presentation tomorrow. We have him on the show this morning, though, and thankfully so. He's one interesting guy. Thank you for coming on the show, Bryan. I mean, we were looking at some pictures ahead, like during the commercial break before you came on the set here, and I want to get right to these images because you go and hang and perch and stalk the most bizarre locations, I would say. Look at this one. These trees are so tall.
Yeah, if you can get, I mean, our theory is if you can get a camera into interesting locations, you'll typically get, you'll get interesting angles. You know, you get stuff that's different than the ordinary position.
Wow. Okay, so the trees here, the next images, we can just scroll through these and kind of, you can comment. This is on top of a mountain, obviously. Sunrise or sunset?
That's sunset in Yosemite.
Yosemite. There you go. The next image, of course, is also beautiful. And this is your first love, too, right? Kayaking, right?
Yeah, that's where it came from for me. It was where I first realized if you had these tools to get places, you could take a camera there and bring back imagery that's a little different than ordinary shots.
Than your regular stuff, yeah. The next one here, hanging off the side of a rock face. Yeah. Is this just par for the course? This is a day in the office?
Yeah, I mean, that is the office, whether it's the river or the mountain. Figuring out how to, operate in those environments is that's our office.
Okay, I have to ask you, okay, love of the outdoors, how do you parlay that into this love of filmmaking and getting that shot that no one else usually gets?
Yeah, I think it's the passion to, bring what we love and experience in that place to bigger audiences.
Yeah.
So, if you can get a camera there and you can capture the story, then we can convey what it is for us, that makes those places so special.
Is it a desire to show or hopefully get the audience to feel what the athlete is doing?
Sure. Yeah, it's their story. It's trying to bring their story alive. It happens, sometimes these stories go down in such tricky places that if it weren't for the crew that's in there making the film, they'd just go unnoticed.
Speaking of your crew, he calls them his posse, by the way. Tell us about your posse. I mean, how do you come up with these gizmos and MacGyver tricks? I mean, I'm using the term obviously, but how do you MacGyver these setups to get the shot, the money shot that you're looking for?
Well, I mean, yeah, we've used things like cable cams and sort of rope rigged camera angles. It's all just thinking about like, okay, how does that action occur, and then what would be an interesting way to follow it? Because in adventure, the subject's kind of constantly moving.
Sure.
So, how do you get the camera to move and follow them? And every situation's different. So, it's a lot of thinking about that type of stuff before we go into the field and what would be a cool shot, and then we see if we can actually execute it.
I got a question for you then. Is it the shot you're looking for, or do you get off on the getting the shot in the first place?
I think it's both. But there's a lot of geeking out, beforehand to try to come up with cool equipment or cool techniques to be able to go and do it.
Yeah, talk about your love of kayaking. I know we have video of you doing your thing here. I mean, how did that turn into filmmaking? Was it just you loved being out there on the water type thing?
Yeah, and also just the idea that all these sports, when you go and do it, you're really engaged in the moment, and there's nothing else that really, happens. You just focus on what you're doing, and I think, that inspired me to keep working in those environments with that same kind of focus.
Nice. What's next? What's next for you?
We have a big project coming up with Chris Davenport, an extreme skier in Norway.
Yeah.
So we're heading off for that.
And then, to Norway.
Yeah.
Good luck. All right.
Thanks.
Bryan Smith, you can see him tomorrow, The Lens of Adventure with Bryan Smith, the Epcor Center, Jack Singer Concert Hall, National Geographic Live putting this on tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Yesterday you were saying it was sold out. Tomorrow, no doubt, will be sold out again, so get involved if you can. Full links on our website, breakfasttelevision.ca. Nice to meet you. Safe travels, safe hanging. Good stuff,
Thanks,
Bryan.